Hey guys, what's up? Welcome along to the High Performance Living Podcast. This is the only show, the only podcast to make you look, feel, perform awesome. I hope you enjoyed that one. Alright, I'm Rue Anderson. I'm here as always, and I've got another fantastic podcast coming your way. This week, I'm joined by strength and conditioning coach Andy McKenzie. Now, I caught up with Andy at the SFN Expo back up in Scotland a couple of months ago, and I wanted to get him into my interrogation room. I wanted to get him on the end of the microphone and get a good interview from him because I'm a big fan of Andy's work. I've followed him for quite some time now, and he has a very good and original look in the whole sort of fitness and nutrition scene. Now, if you do go and check Andy's stuff out, you will likely find him hanging upside down in a gym with a barbell in one hand and a kettlebell in the other, doing some crazy, outrageous exercise. But that's awesome, and that's why I wanted to speak with him today, because he does have that original and different look on everything. So, some fantastic knowledge to learn here. And of course, we're going to have a look and a deep insight into Andy's vision, Andy's outlook with training and nutrition. But before that, if you want some more high performance living in your life and this little weekly dose on the podcast just isn't enough, then head over to my website, exceednutrition.com, and enter your email address to start one of my free 5-day nutrition coaching courses. From there then, you're going to get a ton of information sent to you on all things nutrition and training and mindset. And of course then receive my weekly blogs, my videos, the podcasts, keep you up to date with them, and all my other ramblings in between on training and nutrition. So make sure you head over to exceednutrition.com and get started there. So let's get stuck into this week's interview. Enjoy it. Andy McKenzie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm very well, thanks very much.
Good stuff, mate. So we're down at the SFN Expo. How are you enjoying it?
It's good because I've got a chance to sort of speak to my audience, which has actually been quite nice. Whereas normally the other expos, which are infinitely bigger, they're busier, so you don't really get a chance to speak to a lot of people. And I found
me?
Like you. So it's nice just to engage with people. And then the other thing is people are asking like genuine questions, and it's nice to sort of like load information to people, and then equally when other people are listening in, they benefit as well. So it's been nice in that respect. So it's a pretty cool expo, and for its first one as well, mate, he's done not too bad. It's a good job.
Fantastic, isn't it? I watched your work on YouTube and stuff like that you put out. Really enjoy it, mate, and I actually got to witness it there firsthand. I think that was pretty special, right? Yeah. So you were putting out through, actually, I've always suffered from that lower back stuff that you were explaining through. Mm-hmm. You know, I start squatting heavy and that's it. It just seems to tighten up. So the stuff you've given me there, I'm going to go and put it into action straight away. Tomorrow morning I'll be there doing my warm-up. Yeah. So tell the listeners what you get up to then, what side of stuff do you work with people on, and what you get up to?
I haven't really got, I suppose I'm different in terms of, I haven't really got a paragraph that literally sells me. Do you know when some people come on these podcasts like, oh, I am a fitness entrepreneur, I'm a social this, I'm a speaker, I'm this. I look to me as I'm a strength coach. If you invite me to speak, then I'll speak for you. Mm-hmm. If you want me to educate, then I'll educate for you. But fundamentally, I do what I love, and that's coaching people, either one-on-one or to educating trainers. From a population perspective, I work quite a lot with people who've had long-standing injuries, or they've been injured with other trainers before for various different reasons. So I quite like that because it's always varied, and it keeps me on my toes, but also encourages me to constantly learn of other people. I also work with a rugby team, East Grinstead Rugby Club. They're just coming up through the ranks at the minute, so it's nice just to still work in for an athletic environment. And then I've got like my online clients, so I train like quite a lot of CrossFitters, powerlifters, just anybody who wants to sort of like develop themselves. I don't believe in this this bullshit of having a niche. I think if you understand how the body works from a physiological sense, I think you can tailor and get really good results.
And you're not the CrossFit guy, you're not the rugby player guy, you're the guy who can help everyone because
I believe if you're a good coach and you've got a good understanding and you do your homework, do you know what I mean? So for example, I'll come in and do like a needs analysis. I'll look at stuff and think, right, what does this person actually need? What's their strengths? What's their weaknesses? What do they have to work on? Do you know what I mean? Do I have to work on anaerobic capacity? Is it aerobic capacity? Is it baseline strength? Do I need to develop power? If you understand all that, then you can apply it and put it into a pretty coherent plan. So that's what I do. I don't do this whole idea of body transformations and stuff like that. Okay. It's just not me. I like just performance overrides everything.
Performance will lead to that body changes, do you think?
That's what I believe in, to be honest, Roo. I think if your body is a product of what you do day in, day out, what you do in the gym and how you eat. So if you've got a poor diet, your training's pretty poor, you're gonna look like a bag of shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Like quite. Yeah. But if you do things and you eat a relatively good diet, your training program's on point, then your body's going to be a product like that. So I'm not dissing the guys who do the physique stuff. I think what they do is very specialist and they're passionate about it. And do you know what? I genuinely love that. But I'm not really passionate about like having people go up on stage or like dropping like tremendous amounts of body fat. I prefer the sustainability, long-term approach from a performance perspective.
I think that's why I've enjoyed your work and I enjoy like watching your videos and reading the stuff that you put out there, because I can relate to it from the nutrition side of things. What I like to coach people is that it's for the long term. It's looking people, for me, nutrition isn't just about calories in, calories out all the time, as much as they have a place. It's actually getting people healthy on the inside, what will actually lead to body composition changes. So if they want to look better, they want to have them abs, that's fine, they can have that goal, but they got to understand that it's got to be health orientated perhaps for majority of people, and you're probably the same yourself. There's no point someone trying to squat to get big legs if their lower back's just taking up all the load. Would you say that's something similar?
Mate, absolutely. It's that sort of like whole idea of we can transform your body or we can change you in 6 weeks, 12 weeks. Or during like that, and everybody's got that idea of, oh God, I can do that. Whereas that's fine. I'll tell you what's interesting. I think if you get it right, the actual goal long term doesn't really matter. When you actually get the right training program, or you work under the right coach who sort of like shows you the way and develops you in the right way about nutrition, and takes away all that crap about you should avoid this, you should avoid that, you know, like sugar and all the other sort of like crazy fad stuff that are out there. When you get the right person, the goal tends to evaporate, and you tend to get that idea of, do you know what, this actually suits my lifestyle. I really enjoy feeling different. I enjoy having more energy. I can therefore put more effort into my workout. And then you then get those changes. And it's not from a physical, it's also from a mental perspective. It's one of the reasons why, let's say for example on the seminar today, is I spend a lot of time working on people's mobility. I believe that when people actually feel what it's like to properly stand up, they get a feeling, and it's that feeling that I want to capture that moment and say, that is what normal feels like. And that's again probably what I try and do with like diet and stuff like that as well. I don't go crazy and I say, look, food gives you energy and sustenance. That's what you actually want. You don't want crazy. You want something in the middle that actually feeds and gives your body energy. When you've got that right, you're effectively, and dare I say it, a normal, healthy, living human being,
which is quite rare.
And isn't that what we all aspire to?
Yeah,
that's what I certainly do.
Yeah, that's what I chase every day. Yeah, I'm actually amazed how well you've been able to link it to actually. That's how I feel about nutrition as well. And I've actually never considered training to actually be that similar type of setup. It's great. You kind of made me just
I mean, because if you think about it, is like I don't want to come across as like bashing, but if you jam somebody, if you want to push your hand through that door, or the gap through the door, you can do it, but it's gonna hurt. But you can gently open the door and sort of slide through. That's what I want to do. Sometimes with transformations, don't get me wrong, they get results, but what's the consequence of those results?
The long term.
You know what I mean? There, and that's why I think if you make somebody move better, if you make somebody make the right choices and understand their body from a nutritional perspective, I think then you've actually met a coach then, and not a sales pitch.
What do you think then would be your foundations then? You've talked about like mobility and getting it right. What are your kind of, your cornerstones, your basics to people who will come in, and you probably educate them or start them off from something similar, or do you know what I mean? What's your key points you try and get across to someone who walks through them doors?
It's always a challenging one because everybody's different, and I don't want to give you the old crap answer, well, it depends.
It depends.
I find that when somebody walks in through the door, they're normally dehydrated, living on tons of processed food, and sitting far too many machines, and it doesn't really, so that really doesn't augment or improve their lifestyle. It makes it detrimental. So one of the things I do is I don't tend to assess, because I think it puts people under too much pressure.
Okay.
I just relax and get them to move. Because one of the things I believe in is if you can make someone feel like they're doing things right from the off, you're going to be building a real sort of like a mindset of I can do anything. So I generally get people to come in and move, and then the first thing I do is like look at their diet and then look at their water intake and say, look, all I want you to do now is I want you to drink more water. Because it's so simple. I don't change anything. I don't bombard them with a huge diet plan and completely sort of like mind fuck them.
Yeah.
Are we alright to drop F-bombs?
You're cool, man.
Cool, right? Because I was like, oh shit. So I try not to bombard them. I want them to get one thing right at a time. So I think that's quite key. So if you think about it, somebody could be in a job where their boss is always on their case. They're married or going out with somebody, or they're still at school and somebody's always on their case. Somebody in their life is always pointing out the things that they're not doing right. They could have had it from childhood, and I'm not trying to come across as an expert in psychology, but if you look at it from a real basic point of view, you can get, generally some people are pretty downtrodden, and this is the first time that they've actually done something that's positive. So for me then, I've got to create a positive environment that says as soon as you walk through the door, you can do anything. So that's why I tend to avoid assessments, because you can quite easily highlight somebody, and that's what I've done in the seminar today, and make people feel like, oh my God, I'm like this, I'm like that, and I think, hey, let's just move. Let's just drink some water. When they've got that done, then it's like that, congratulations, well done, you've drunk water, you've actually done something.
Yeah.
Those little words can sometimes be the difference that some people need.
Yeah, certainly at the start, right?
Yeah, just get it right at the start, and then when you get there, all I want you to do then is now look at your diet. I just want you to look at your breakfast choices, and let's just change that a wee bit. Not everything else.
Yeah.
I just want you to look at your breakfast, get that right. So if you look at that in a span of, say, 2 or 3 weeks, they're in the gym, they're moving, they're focusing on mobility, they're focusing on getting stretch, joints that they've never actually seen that range of movement before, they're going to feel that little bit different. So I'm capturing that moment. They're going to be hydrated, so therefore their system is going to work more effectively. It's almost like, it's bizarre. People want to take supplements, but their body's dehydrated. You know what I mean? From a sort of like a cellular function point of view, you're not even going to function properly, but therefore, but you want a magic pill to work. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I tend to look at that, so it's a very progressive thing, and then from there get breakfast choices right, and then from there build in a lunch and then evening meal. And what I find then, Roo, is that if there's any genuine things that I can't deal with, so for instance somebody might have a gut issue, I'm by no means an expert in gut, but if I can clean up somebody's diet and make sure they're eating well, do you know what I mean, it's a balanced nutrition, and they've still got an issue, then I'll refer on to an expert and say, look, I've done this, they're drinking more water, they're eating a good nutritious breakfast, they're eating a good healthy lunch, and they're eating a good dinner, evening meal, and they're training well, they're not killing themselves, but they're moving, their body's getting sort of oxygen around the system, all the little things that you get from base level exercise. If it's still a genuine issue, you pass on to someone else, and then someone who's much more of an expert than myself can give them exactly what they need. If they've got something wrong with their gut, they can get the right supplementation, rather than this whole, oh, let's just do 9 grams of fish oil, we'll take some glutamine, we'll do some vitamin B12, we'll do some vitamin D because you don't see any sunlight, and it's all of a sudden you bombard a system. You're like, do you genuinely know what's actually wrong with that person? So that's the approach that I take, and it's very, very basic, and people are like, whoa, is that it? And it's like, well, yeah, that's it. And like I said out there, anything done basic and consistent will always trump complicated. I don't understand, therefore I'm going to jump onto the next complicated thing. Because that hasn't worked, because you've skipped the basics. And mate, that's it.
Well, I just stood on stage there for the last hour and delivered the 10 nutrition cornerstones that everyone needs to know.
Are they different from you as fuck?
No. I told everyone to eat protein. I told them to eat carbohydrates based on their activity levels. I told them to eat some healthy fats. I told them to drink more water. I told them to sleep more, stress less, and chill the hell out more. How basic is that? And sometimes I think, Roo, people know this stuff. You've been talking about it for years. You've been going on about it for years now, that you should be eating more protein and cutting out less of the processed crap. But yeah.
We've just been interrupted.
Yeah.
Back in the room.
So yeah, back in the interrogation room, right? So, but really, when sometimes someone does come through the doors, like you say, and someone comes to work with myself, that's what they need. That's what people really need, to keep it back to the habits. Creating those habits one step at a time, and you'll find that you get much better results in some 6 weeks to abs, or and just throwing the whole pile of stuff at people and supplement lists and everything like that.
If you look at it in terms of like it's very easy to spew up your knowledge on somebody when the very first time, but again, it's going to blow their mind. They're going to be like, what? And the thing is, mine is a trigger. Mine is almost like a hook, but not on a very salesy, I want to steal your money, but a real sort of like coach. I want you to understand that the simple things work. You just got to consistently apply them. And that's why it's almost like the magic of, look, just change your water intake and tell me what happens. Keep a diary, how do you actually feel? And then say, look, that's the simplicity of it. You need to understand that your body is like, the majority is made up of water. And then you go into the protein side of things. So I think that simplicity of just doing one thing right at a time, getting that right, and then saying, look, mirror time, have a look at that, how do you feel? Right, let's take the next step up, rather than this whole spew up every bit of information and blowing people's minds. And then the other one is like, again, it probably comes into that stress and failure. I wrote a post about this the other day. It's like these arseholes that say, 6 weeks to great abs, and if you can't do this, then it's like, well, it's like or the Herbalife fucking monkeys. They're a bit like, this is easy. It's like 12 weeks, and it's all right then. How many people actually fail that? So they fail easy. So therefore, when you and I come in and say, right, this is the easy way, drink water, have more healthy fats, have more protein, have carbohydrates. Yeah, you can fucking have carbohydrates, don't worry about it, regardless of what other people think. Get more sleep. You're already on a battle, because you've had Muppet Brigade saying, all right, 12 weeks is easy. They've failed that. Yeah. So what do you then do? Do you make it, this is really, really easy, or do you make it, this is so easy that when you fail, we'll make it even easier? I mean, where does it actually stop? Yeah. And it's these people at the top end that I think they're almost making guys like ourselves and other coaches our job a little bit harder, because we come and say, guys, this is it. This is what it takes, and it's easy when you apply it, but it's like, well, I've failed before, and all of a sudden he's just telling me to drink water when I took a shake before, and that shake's full of fucking magic, but it hasn't worked for me. Yeah. And that's the way I sort of look at it when you look at that. But it's a strange. But if you look into the maybe back into the psychology of it and look at it, it's that people making it like achievable rather than, oh my God, am I going to do this and I'm going to fail at something? It's so easy that why isn't everybody doing it? Yeah, that's the hard bit. I think that's the challenge. I find that as well. The challenge is keeping them on board to actually have the confidence in you. In that this simple, really simple procedure and habits and techniques are going to actually bring them to the results, because they're so used to thinking that it's some magic pill, all this information and stuff at the same time. Do you transition that into your sort of your training coaching as well, and getting people to train differently in the gym, and how they've actually, that general outlook that people have running on treadmills and
not lifting heavy enough and stuff like that. Do you bring that across into their training and keeping it simple and building stuff up as well?
Yeah, when I first opened up my gym, I had to accommodate people in their need for cardio equipment. So I had a treadmill in there, and then one day I thought, fuck it. I pulled the plug and said, oh, the treadmill's broke, but you can push a prowler, you can sprint outside, and I literally went, oh, hold on, Trev, what can I do? So I gave them options, and then I sort of like removed the treadmill. I'll tell you one of the other things, and again, it's like what you find is it's a fine line between saying your last trainer was wrong, because in effect then that you're saying the profession is wrong. That's why I think it's so important for us all to raise our standards, because if you're good, I'm good. If I'm good, you're good in that relation. And that's what I find is, if you come back and say, oh well, your trainers did this wrong, your trainers done that wrong, I think you're imprinting in mind is that trainers aren't really going to get me the results that I want. So it's really wording it effectively of just saying, look, let's try this, let's make it. I always go to the point of let's make something 1% better. Do you know what I mean? So when you walk in the gym, you're never doing anything wrong. It's easy for me to go, right, you're not doing that right, your squat's all wrong here, you've got to do that. And I just say, look, let's just make it 1% better. Let's make your nutrition 1% better. Let's make your choices 1% better. And then that way you're playing around with it, and just again creating that mindset of I can do anything, and that's pretty important. So to sort of get back to it, my training is very, very basic. So when people can do that and they can accommodate it and they understand it, and then they can see the results that you get from doing something correctly at the start. Then when you want to go into the more complex stuff, like, look, let me show you the snatch, let me show you the clean and jerk, let me show you a front lever, let me take you on the gymnastic rings. If you've fostered an environment, if you created an environment which makes people feel at ease, it makes people feel, do you know what, I can do anything, and then they'll go, yeah, Andy, I'm going to try that. And I think it's the same with nutrition. If you get somebody who's implemented the basics right and say, look, if you want to drop a wee bit more body fat, then let's really get into the nitty gritty sort of stuff. Let's really look at when we're going to give you some carbohydrates. Do you know what I mean? Really, and that's when and then they buy into it. Then it's like, all right, I think I can do that. Rather than all of a sudden come out with a whiz bang science. This is what's going to happen. Whoa, look at me. But in the back of their mind, my last trainer said that, and I never got it. So what's going to be different about you? You're just poo-pooing the industry. So it's that fine line between, I think, creating the right environment, or especially when you're coaching, or one-to-one, of not damaging yourself by trying to negate what other people have done. I think that's quite key.
I agree completely. I try not to say myself that was wrong or that your trainer was wrong. It's kind of saying, well, you've tried that, so how about we try a different approach? As opposed to saying that, it didn't maybe work for you, so how about we try it this way? And then it's kind of like, all right, okay, this guy's maybe got something different to show me and stuff like that, as opposed to saying all these other people are crap and I'm the expert and I'm the hero. But it doesn't need to be that way.
But it's like everybody wants to be the big guy, the expert. It's like sometimes when I sort of like sit back and you see people in the industry bashing each other, or like, so for example, somebody says, oh, this works, and somebody then reads another paper and said, oh, I admit that's wrong, and discounts everything this other trainer said. I mean, I was chatting to Alex Ferrantino about this, and I was like, all it takes is for somebody to write an article saying, look, this is how we actually progress in the industry. So for example, I've read that so-and-so has proposes this, which is that the science needs to be updated a wee bit, right? All this other person has to do, who's got this new information, say, right, this is the newest information. If you've read any of Trainer X's stuff, you can see that worked at that time. However, new research has said this, so why don't we look about this? So in effect then you can say, look, this guy was actually saying the right stuff. It may be a wee bit out of date, but this is the new stuff. So then equally then you could copy that trainer in, and you can make it a win-win. So you can almost say, like, this trainer's right, I've got a little bit, and then the guy who has then read that other article goes, oh right, that's really interesting. That's a really good way to think about it. Can you send me a little bit more? What information you actually read? And you then like create this environment where everybody's feeding off each other rather than biting chunks. And it's like there's no need to do that. It could even be an email. Rue, I've seen that you wrote that. I've seen this research that sort of like says that that's not really the right thing to do anymore. Do you want to read this? I'll tell you what I'm going to do, mate. I'm going to write about this. I'm going to copy you in. Are you happy to do that? I want to highlight that the industry, or how is constantly evolving. Therefore, newer guys that are coming into it need to see that me and you are constantly still learning, but we're really open about it, rather than just going, "Oi, Roo, you're talking shit, mate. I've just seen this." And people all of a sudden it's like, "Oh, look, Roo Anderson doesn't know what he's talking about," and oh my god, and it's the wrong environment, isn't it? We're supposed to be coaches that help other people, but if you're not instinctively like that, if you're not genuinely like that, you're going to see it transfer into other avenues of your life. Do you know what I mean? In terms of, I'm going to just backstab or get into this coach. If you're like that, mate, then you're like that generally. Do you know what I mean? You don't. We're not fucking hybrids that can switch on and off left and right. You're either like that. So if you're going to be do you know what I mean? It's the genuine sort of like the joy that I like about coaching and stuff like that is I'm there to provide the best service that I can and make sure that people improve. So therefore, you've got to do it in the right way.
Awesome, mate. I couldn't agree more with the stuff you've said, mate. So it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you finally, after watching all your stuff for years, mate. So it's been really good to catch up with you. We'll wrap it up there, mate.
Right.
Where can people get hold of you? Where can they learn more?
So very, very simply, you can get me on ironmacfitness.com, and if you want to look at videos, then obviously the same name on YouTube. I'm quite active on Twitter and Instagram. So don't send me a personal Facebook message, because I won't get to it. But if you want to, if people want to generally contact me, do it where other people can learn from it. There's nothing worse than sending somebody and being it really closed. I also do like quite a lot of seminars now as well. I've got bodyweight certifications, which are 2-day. I think they're very appropriate for trainers. And I'm quite sort of I've worked quite hard in bringing all the sort of like experience that I've garnished over the years into 2 days, but it's a continual learning as well. I've got a training lab hub page where coaches that have done my seminars, we tend to still stay around with each other, so we're constantly learning, and I literally update the course all the time. So you can hold there. So workshops and certs, that's where you can get hold of me, mate.
It's great, mate. Much respect for the stuff that you do, mate.
No dramas.
Keep up the good work.
Cool.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, buddy.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome along to the High Performance Living Podcast. This is the only show, the only podcast to make you look, feel, perform awesome. I hope you enjoyed that one. Alright, I'm Roo Anderson. I'm here as always, and I've got another fantastic podcast coming your way. This week, I'm joined by strength and conditioning coach Andy McKenzie. Now, I caught up with Andy at the SFN Expo back up in Scotland a couple of months ago, and I wanted to get him into my interrogation room. I wanted to get him on the end of the microphone and get a good interview from him, because I'm a big fan of Andy's work. I've followed him for quite some time now, and he has a very good and original look in the whole sort of fitness and nutrition scene. Now, if you do go and check Andy's stuff out, you will likely find him hanging upside down in a gym with a barbell in one hand and a kettlebell in the other, doing some crazy, outrageous exercise. But that's awesome, and that's why I wanted to speak with him today, because he does have that original and different look on everything. So, some fantastic knowledge to learn here. And of course, we're going to have a look and a deep insight into Andy's vision, Andy's outlook with training and nutrition. But before that, if you want some more high performance living in your life, and this little weekly dose on the podcast just isn't enough, then head over to my website, exceednutrition.com, and enter your email address to start one of my free 5-day nutrition coaching courses. From there then, you're going to get a ton of information sent to you on all things nutrition and training and mindset. And of course then receive my weekly blogs, my videos, the podcasts, keep you up to date with them, and all my other ramblings in between on training and nutrition. So make sure you head over to exceednutrition.com and get started there. So let's get stuck into this week's interview. Enjoy it.